Happy birthday to the late great legendary Owen Hart and to the fat Eric Cartman, CM Punk, Canadian Bacon, Kevin Owens. X-Men 1991 back again with another sports topic. We're going to get right into it. We're just going to do a recap of Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Knicks and the Heat and the Western Conference semifinals between the Warriors and the Lakers. Then I got to do a recap of the entire 2022-2023 season of the Chicago Bulls. Just like the Rockets, they've also been eliminated from the playoffs. So let's go ahead and do a recap of the Knicks versus Heat, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, with the series being tied at 1. And the Heat killed this whole game. Not just the first or the second half, but the whole damn game. The Heat destroyed the Knicks. They won by 8 in the first quarter, 29-21. Then they won by 6 in the second quarter, 29-23. With the Heat leading 58-44 at halftime. Then they won by Tress in the third quarter, 29-26. With the Heat leading 87-70 after the third quarter. Then they won by deuce in the fourth quarter, 18-16. Final score, Miami Heat 105, New York Knicks 86. The Heat leads the series 2-1 with Game 4 airing tomorrow. Julius Randle needed 8 more assists to go with a triple-double. 10 points, 14 rebounds, and 2 assists. Josh Hart also needed 8 more assists to go with a triple-double. 15 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists. But y'all should know who's the player of the game. The return of Jimmy Butler. 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. Bam Adebayo needed 10 assists to go with a triple-double. 17 points and 12 rebounds. Now let's do a recap of Game 3 of the Western Conference semifinals between the defending NBA champs, the Golden State Warriors, and the LA Lakers, with the series also being tied at 1. Warriors won by 7 in the first quarter, 30-23. Lakers made a comeback by 8 in the second quarter, 36-18. Halftime, Lakers 59, Warriors 48. Lakers dominated the second half, outscoring the Warriors by 7 in the third, 27-20. With the Lakers leading 86-68 after the third quarter. Lakers won by 14, or they won by 12 in the fourth quarter, 41-29. Final score, Los Angeles Lakers 127, Golden State Warriors 97. Lakers also leads the series 2-1, with Game 4 also airing tomorrow. Anthony Davis was the player of the game with 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. He needed 7 more assists to go with a triple-double. Before I do a recap of the entire 2022-2023 season of the Bulls, I need to show y'all something real quick. Let me just type this in and then I'm going to show y'all what happened. It was towards the end of the third quarter between the Heat and the Knicks. Let me show y'all. I got to show y'all this clip. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Found it real quick. This brawl right here. Hold on a second.
two. Grimes keeps it alive. Got the game three. 1 out of 2. Grimes keeps it alive. Got the rebound. He's right under the basket. Kicks it out quickly. Short on the three. Got his own miss. Puts it back up and in. Great hustle. And contact under the basket. Tempers flare, which we expected at some point in this series. Security gets on the floor. Eric Spoelstra out there as well, peeling his player Cody Martin away from Hartenstein. Now Tom Thibodeau has walked down court. See also that Zeller was in that group of people. So there were 3 guys. There's a lot of contact there. Tempers starting to flare here. Jimmy Butler having a little fun with it.
Jimmy Butler. What are you doing, Jimmy G?
With 14.7 seconds remaining.
I don't know why Jimmy Butler did that. I guess he's happy because he's back from that ankle injury.
Now you're going to see underneath, well, Randall pushed Zeller in the back. Zeller pushed. And then all of a sudden, the contact as Randall goes out. Then you see Martin side. Okay? Martin pushes from the middle. Remember, at the initial, just keep an eye. So you can see Zeller pushing there. And then Ironside pushes Zeller. So Zeller was the initial push. And the defensive player, meaning Randall, goes down. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN.
Wow. Let me see who got a technical foul according to Mike Henry. Let me see. Cody Zeller, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Caleb Martin all got technical fouls. Get your shit together, fellas, because this is no time for you to be brawling, especially during the playoffs. Unacceptable. Now we're going to do a recap of the entire 2022-2023 season of the Chicago Bulls. Starting on October 19th, where the Bulls beat the Heat 116-108. October 21st, they lost to the Wizards by deuce 102-100. October 22nd, they lost to the Cavaliers 128-96. October 24th, they beat the Celtics 120-102. October 24th, they beat the Pacers 124-109. October 28th, they lost to the Spurs 129-124. October 29th, they lost to the 76ers 114-109. November 1st, they beat the Nets 108-99. November 2nd, they beat the Hornets 106-88. November 4th, they lost to the Celtics 123-119. November 6th, they lost to the Raptors 113-104. November 7th, they beat the Raptors 111-97. Or should I say, they got back at them. November 9th, they beat the Pelicans they lost to the Pelicans 115-111. November 13th, they lost to the Denver Chicken Nuggets 126-103. November 16th, they lost to the Pelicans 124-110. November 18th, they lost to the Magic 108-107. November 21st, they beat the Celtics 121-107. November 23rd, they beat the Bucks 118-113. November 25th, they beat the Thunder at overtime, or they lost to the Thunder 123-119. November 28th, they beat the Jazz 114-107. November 30th, they lost to the Suns 132-113. December 2nd, they lost to the defending NBA champs, the Warriors, 119-111. December 4th, they lost to the Kings 110-101. December 7th, Serge Dragon's birthday, they beat the Wizards 115 to 111. December 10th, they beat the Mavericks 144 to 115. December 11th, they lost to the Hawks at overtime only by a point, 123 to 122. December 14th, they lost to the Knicks at overtime, 128 to 120. Then they lost to the Knicks again 2 days later, the 16th, 114 to 91. December 18th, they lost to the Timberwolves 150 to 126. December 20th, they beat the Heat again by 10, 113 to 103. December 21st, they beat the Hawks 110 to 108. December 23rd, they beat the Knicks 118 to 117. Kwanzaa, they lost to my Rockets 133 to 118. December 28th, they beat the Bucks at overtime 119 to 113. December 30th, they beat the Pistons 132 to 118. New Year's Eve, they lost to the Cavaliers only by a point, 103 to 102. Then they lost to the Cavs again at overtime January 2nd, 145 to 134. January 4th, they beat the Nets 121 to 112. January 6th, they beat the 76ers 126 to 112. January 7th, they beat the Jazz 126 to 118. January 9th, they lost to the Celtics 107 to 99. January 11th, they lost to the Wizards by Tress 100 to 97. January 13th, they lost to the Thunder 124 to 110. January 15th, they lost to the Warriors 132, or they beat the Warriors 132 to 118. January 19th, they beat the Pistons 126 to 108. January 23rd, they beat the Hawks 111 to 100. January 24th, they lost to the Pacers 116 to 110. January 26th, they lost to the Hornets 111 to 96. January 28th, they lost to the Magic, or they beat the Magic 128 to 109. January 31st, they lost to the Clippers 108 to 103. February 2nd, they beat the Hornets 114 to 98. February 4th, they beat the Trailblazers 129 to 121. February 26th, they beat the Spurs 128 to 104. February 7th, they lost to the Grizzlies 104 to 89. They lost to the Nets, or February 7th, they lost to the Grizzlies. February 9th, they lost to the Nets 116 to 105. February 11th, they lost to the Cavaliers 97 to 89. February 13th, they lost to the Magic 100 to 91. They lost to the Pacers February 15th, 117 to 113. They lost to the Bucks 112 to 111 on February 16th. They beat the Nets February 24th, 131 to 87. They beat the Wizards February 26th, 102 to 82. February 28th, they lost to the Raptors 104 to 98. March 1st, they beat the Pistons by deuce 117 to 115. March 3rd, they lost to the Suns 125 to 104. March 5th, they lost to the Pacers 125 to 122. March 8th, they beat the Nuggets 117 to 96. March 11th, Pharaoh's birthday, they beat my Rockets 119 to 111. Mike Henry and my godmother's birthday, March 15th, they lost to the Kings 117 to 114. Wow. St. Patrick's Day, they beat the Timberwolves at overtime 139 to 131. March 18th, they beat the Heat 113 to 99. Damn, it's like the third time that season that the Bulls beat the Heat. They beat them October 19th. Then they beat them December 20th. And now they beat them March 18th. So the Bulls this season were 3-0 against the Heat. March 20th, they beat the 76ers at overtime 109 to 105. Then they lost to the 76ers March 22nd, 116 to 91. March 24th, they beat the Trailblazers 124 to 96. March 26th, they beat the Lakers 118 to 108. March 27th, they lost to the Clippers 124 to 112. March 29th, they lost to the Lakers 121 to 110. March 31st, they beat the Hornets 121 to 91. April 2nd, they beat the Grizzlies 128 to 107. April 4th, they lost to the Hawks 123 to 105. My sister's birthday, April 5th, they lost to the Bucks 105 to 92. They beat the Mavericks April 7th 115 to 112. Easter Sunday, they beat the Pistons 103 to 81. April 9th, that is. April 12th, they beat the Raptors 109 to 105, and they lost to the Heat 102 to 91 and April 14th. So the Bulls ends their season. Let me see. The Bulls ends their season 40 wins and 42 losses. Bulls, you played well this season. You had a chance to go to the playoffs, but you got eliminated by the Heat. Keep your heads up, get your shit together, work on your game, try again next season. Same goes for the Rockets. Shout out to Mike Henry, Jaime and Katie Filer, and the host of the Just a Little Shady podcast, Haley, Jade, and Brittany. A link to their YouTube pages will be in the description down below. I need to come on here and make a video one day addressing to the haters of Jaime and Katie Filer. Just like I did when I responded to the haters of Alexa and Maria. If you haven't checked out the Just a Little Shady podcast episode from Friday, they was talking about the engagement party for Haley and her fiance, Evan. She also did have her fiance, Evan, on the podcast, as well as her uncle, Nate, and one of her sisters was on the podcast. And people are still wondering, is Eminem going to be a guest on the podcast? We don't know yet, but we just have to wait and see. That's up to her if she wants her own daddy to be on the podcast. That's going to wrap up my recap of the entire 2022-2023 season of the Chicago Bulls and a recap of Game 3 of the Eastern and Western Conference semifinals of the Knicks and the Heat and the Warriors and the Lakers. Today is Game 4 between the Celtics and the 76ers and the Nuggets and the Suns. Let me see if they're on right now. Let me see. Yeah, Game 4 is on right now between the Celtics and the 76ers, and tonight is the Nuggets and the Suns. If you're new here, hit subscribe and hit that notification bell for my next Lakers, Heat, and Bulls rant. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave your comment down below. What are your thoughts about that brawl between the Knicks and the Heat towards the end of the third quarter? Just give me a moment here. My recap for tomorrow is Friday, yesterday, and today's games between the Houston Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Let me see. I'm trying to find a matchup segment from the May 8th, 2000 edition of Raw is War. Let me see here. Here it is. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon manipulate Chris Jericho's Intercontinental title match. That's my second video for tomorrow from the May 8th, 2000 edition of Raw is War. Until then, go Chicago Bulls. See you next season. Go Golden State Warriors. Go Miami Heat. And go Los Angeles Lakers. Congrats to the Heat and the Lakers. Tough loss for the Warriors. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. No more talk.